the Japanese idea to liberate Japan, right?
Which one?
So if you go down.
Go down, this one?
Yeah. So okay. Well, actually, this is maybe one further down.
Going
To
up?
10.
Tens?
Yes.
What is this?
So last week we were talking about Japan's intentions in relation to. Sorry, easily. It's usually not that bad, but maybe he's excited because of the broadcast. Anyway, so we were talking about divide and rule, and the way that, in my view, the Japanese occupation of a lot of the countries in Southeast Asia were more or less neo-colonial, and Uno-san, he claimed that basically Japan was had more of an intention to liberate, to guide the Southeast Asia from colonialism, right? So I had a look at the casualty rates of the areas that were occupied by Japan during World War II, and these are the rates. So these are the most modest estimates. WWll actually estimates that there were close to 20 million people who died. WWll claims that there were probably around 6 million. So I put the number of 6 million, I put the biggest numbers there. And as you can see here, that basically what you mentioned last week is that most of the casualties, most of the people who were under attack were the soldiers, the colonialists, like in Indonesia. But if you look at the actual numbers, you can see that these are only very, very limited relative to the civilians who were killed.
By the way, why so Britain POW so small? 13,000?
Yes, and the British colonies. So in total,
British POW is 70,000.
Yeah, but this is the people who were killed as prisoner of war.
Oh, those people are killed. Killed.
Not according to WWll.
Oh, okay.
Not according to WWll. I have the numbers here.
How come Netherlands people 25,000 killed? Bigger than British.
Yeah, well, I think that.
You mean the battle against Indonesia independent war?
No. They're probably not. Prisoner of war. That could be about right if we include the people who died on the Burma Railway.
Oh, only Burma Railway. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think not only. But I think this was his estimate of the total. Yeah, but as mentioned, the other estimates were much higher. But this is about. But it's more about the total numbers. If we look at it's about 10% prisoner of war versus civilians. So civilians actually were and these
this casualty, these people?
Yes.
Not POW.
And that's not because of famine. These people were killed.
Not POW, killed. How about
Yes.
the US? How come so small? 10,000.
Actually, I was really surprised. I looked at the numbers of U.S. soldiers who died.
Maybe only Okinawa and Iwo Jima summing up is this figure, 10,000.
Well, actually, if you look at the casualty rate of the U.S. soldiers, it was really, I think it was about 2% of the soldiers did not return from the war, 2.5%. But if you compare that with Japan, it was close to 25% of the soldiers did not return. So
I think at least US soldiers dead is more than 100,000 or 200, 300,000 because Japanese soldiers dead 3 million.
Okay, so I'm looking here. Death toll, total deaths of World War II.
Oh, by the way, what base information from?
This is from a number of studies from Wikipedia.
Which Wikipedia? You just pick it up.
It's the World War II casualties Wikipedia.
World War II casualty? No.
Yeah,
more,
World War II casualties.
More people.
So if you look at the U.S. casualties, 407,000.
What do you mean 407,000?
407,000 soldiers died.
What do you mean 407,000?
Casualties of World War II.
400,000?
Military death. Yeah.
You mean 400,000 people?
Yes.
Okay.
And if we compare that with Japan, it's between 2.1 and 2.3 million.
Yeah, 3 million. It's including not
including civilian deaths due to military
civilian deaths is more. Civilian deaths is more.
So, yeah, civilian deaths is
military plus semi-military, 3 million.
Yes, that's correct.
China is more, not 3.6 million civilian.
Yeah, but those are people that were directly killed. So if we look at China, that's just people who were directly military who were directly killed. So that's between 3 and 3.7. But if we look at civilian deaths, between 7.4 and 8.2
million. You mean Chinese soldiers 400,000?
No. Chinese soldiers is between 3 and 3.75.
Yeah. What 400,000 means?
That's prisoners of war.
Prisoners.
Yes, so people who were captivated and
it's interesting. Just only the prisoner might be only Netherlands, France, Britain. No, Australia. Usually Japanese military they kill them all.
So there's So according to these numbers, from Rummel, it was 8,000 Australians.
This might be Westerners, Japanese military accepted POW from Westerners, but not Asian people. All Asian people they killed.
Right.
So no POW from China.
Right, but if we look at the numbers of civilians, they're much larger than.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. Yes.
The prisoner of war. So then, my question is basically like if really Japan was to liberate, and I looked a little bit further, but I didn't have time to write it down into the history of Indonesia and how that played out. I seriously question whether Japan really had the only intentions to liberate these countries if we look at the number
those
of casualties.
figures is main figures is because of bombing. Do you know Japan's air bombing very harsh in Asia Pacific to?
No, sorry, no. Actually, then we need to look in more detail because no, no. I read too much about other suppression and people being killed on other ways. That was just simply occupation and suppression.
You said Malaya, Singapore, 283 out of 283 is 70,000 in Singapore. They killed Chinese rich people. I don't know another 200,000. Malay people.
Yeah, Malaya 283,000.
Singapore is 70,000. They killed rich Chinese people.
If I go to, let's see if the numbers are in.
A Japanese big air base located at Hainan Island. Do you know that?
Singapore is not separate. Why is it not in
70,000.
Oh.
And the Japanese military Navy air base located at Hainan Island. They flying from that area to Indochina for bombing. At that time, maybe you don't know that not Zero fighter, they bombing fighter, not big, not like big as B-29, more smaller one, and 4 or 5 fighters in the plane and big plane flying to the Indochina. They have many bombing plane there. Before Japanese military landing in Indochina, they did a lot of bombing. And as you know, Prince of Wales, also the Japanese Navy's bombers, they hit by Japanese Navy bombers and they sank. Prince of Wales.
Prince of Wales.
Yeah, bombing. And I think 5 or 6 times larger than Zero fighter. 5 fighters in one plane, and they fly over to the Indochina every day.
Right.
Every day. Like B-29 bombing to Tokyo. So 1941 they did like that every day. At that time, still Japanese Navy had a big power for attacking by air operation.
Right. Actually, I find here that the civilians.
By the way, Korean is civilian Korean. 378,000. What does this mean?
Those were civilians killed.
I tell you, no war in Korea.
No war in Korea.
No. That was at that time Japanese territory. That area never invaded by USSR or China. No.
Let's put the Korea.
The China-U.S. war in Korea, 1950, right? Maybe they did more than that, 1 million, more than 1 million.
Korea, it says here.
Korean soldiers?
483 to 533,000
soldiers.
Civilian deaths.
Why they Korea never invaded, never battled in Korea.
Civilian deaths due to military activity and crimes against humanity.
No, nothing in Korea.
Well, that depends on how you view the
those people are
history.
let's see. Those are prostitutes going to the mainland China.
Eh? No.
Prostitutes might be. If so, this is 37,000 might be killed.
No. The number is much higher.
At that time, Korean soldiers were battling with Japanese soldiers.
So included with Japanese military, 483 to 533.
Civilians never going to battle in China, except concubine, except prostitute.
So it's for all causes. Included with the Japanese military, 480, so about 500,000.
Who are they?
Okay, then I need to find the reference sources, but
it's interesting. I don't know that.
It's 500,000 people.
Yeah, what for?
Yeah, were they enlisted in the Japanese army?
No. This is you're talking about civilian, right? Soldiers is
yes.
From Korea is 1 million, over 1 million soldiers. Korean soldiers battle with Japanese
number of soldiers was about 8 million, right, for Japanese army.
No. Korean soldiers, not big.
No. Total Japanese army.
Oh yeah, including Japanese army, Korean soldiers might over 1 million.
So if it's over 1 million, then.
But 378,000, I don't know. Civilian, what for?
So the other one, the other overview that I see, is a little bit more than that. But I think overall, if you look at these numbers, then I'd say that a lot more civilians were killed than prisoners of war. So it was not just a war against colonial powers.
But it is another strange figures. Indochina is Vietnam, right?
Vietnam, Thailand.
No, Thailand is Malay.
What's next to Vietnam?
Malaysia and Thailand is Malay. Indochina is Vietnam.
No, not only Vietnam.
Really?
There's more. I think it's about 3 or 4 countries.
Oh, Cambodia, Laos, yes.
Yeah.
But Cambodia, Laos is few population. Huge number is Vietnam. But Vietnam is, how come for 500,000 people dead in civilian? At that time, Vietnam is occupied by, what the name of the French government? It is supported for Nazis. This is Indochina was cooperated with Japan at that time. The Japanese military never battled against Indochina because this is Japanese association, cooperation countries at that time.
So why so many people were killed?
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe after World War II.
I tell you exactly, because this was just colonialization, just like all the Western countries have done before.
Yeah. Now, simple question: how come they killed 500,000?
It was everywhere, because there were people who were like you mentioned. For example, in Indonesia, there was initial enthusiasm by the local Indonesians because they they thought that the Japanese would help them to liberate them from the Dutch colonialists. But that very quickly changed, and Japan started to suppress these nationalist movements and forbid to even refer to the Indonesian independence.
No, Indonesian people is very much coordinated with Japanese military at that time for 3 years.
Only a small portion, yes. So if you look at Suharto and
Suharto.
What's the other guy?
No, not Suharto, Sukarno.
Sukarno, yeah, not Suharto. You're right, Sukarno.
And Indonesian people very similar to Japanese character, as you know.
4 million died.
For what?
Mostly because of basically because they were murdered and because they died because of slave labor.